Well, thank you, Doug, and thank you, Carlton, and everyone else for having me. Again, my name is Raleigh West, director with the South Carolina Conservation Bank. So we're a state agency, founded in 2002, got our first money in 2006, and I got some statistics for you. Since we started, and this is from Amber, fresh off the press, we've completed 337 projects in the state, saving 326,248 acres, awarded $171 million, and this is the important piece that I want you all to focus on for y'all's program. The $171 million has saved $1.14 billion worth of real estate. We leverage. That's the name of the game, especially when you've got to prove yourself. Fresh out. Here in Greenville County, 37 projects, 9,291 acres, $26 million and change awarded, saving $63.5 million worth of property. So our mandate is very broad, as what I understand your program is. We are tasked with saving farms, forests, wetlands, historic sites, scenic vistas, etc. And Doug asked me not to get into the minutiae of our processes, but I was thinking about it. And Doug, I think it's the most important question is the processes, because the biggest challenge that I face and that y'all face is how do you compare a 20-acre scenic vista for $30,000 grant versus a 2,000-acre fee simple, new state park over here in a fast-growing area versus a farm, and they're so disparate. You've got to really focus on putting some metrics down that help analyze the different goals you're trying to achieve. And for us, and now before I get into the minutia, y'all are welcome to have any of our documents and processes. In fact, I'd encourage that because it would be streamlined together, and Scott and Mac would only have to write one application instead of multiple ones. But here's what we do. All right, just briefly, high level. We look at the deal in three main areas. We call this, the first test is the objective test. That is, what is on the property that makes it special? Does it have important wetlands on it? Does it have important wildlife, threatened and endangered species? Does it have cultural values and scenic vistas? And so what is the property and what are we trying to protect? That's number one. We do that through an application process where the applicant answers the question. And here in the very near future, we're going to move to a secondary phase of where that has mapping that corroborates it. But again, y'all are welcome to any of that. The next piece that we look at is the financial piece, and perhaps that is as, if not more important, than what is on the property, because there's a lot of properties that need to be saved, and there's only so much money to do it. So you got to really allocate the money wisely. And so we have a very simple formula: is how much are you asking from us, and what's the property worth? And the smaller that ratio is, the better off you're going to score. So if it's a $10 million property and you're asking us for $500,000, 5%, you're going to score off the charts. If you're asking us for all of the money, then the deal, even if it's an amazing deal, may not get funded because it's not a good buy, not a good bang for the buck. So especially on the early end, on the front end, if y'all don't have but a very small amount of money to start leverage it up, do the best financial deals. And again, the metric I use is how much value are we protecting for what we're putting into it, and that's based on appraisals. The third piece that we look at is what we call the subjective category, and that's things that aren't really that it takes looking at the deal to really understand. How much public access, for instance, is being afforded? What's the threat of it being converted? That's a question, and that doesn't really lend itself to mapping, or you have to go out and look at the property and really kind of get a feel for how likely it is to be lost. And there's a few other components to that. But again, we rank them all based on those three categories, and we come up with a score, and the top projects get the funding request, and we go down the list and fund them in order. At the end of the deal, Mac or Scott, they'll put together we call it the due diligence package, where they give us the surveys, the title work, the appraisals, the legal documents, and then we send them a grant agreement that says you are going to do what you said you're going to do, and they're required to record that on the deed of the real estate, so that always follows the chain of title, and so nobody can say they didn't know that this property was supposed to be used for public access. It's on the title. All right, so that's what I wanted to emphasize: leverage, though. How am I doing on time? A few more minutes. Okay, importance of local funding. I'll tell you. I'll answer this topic by telling a story on Mac. I got a call from Mac saying he found this rare plant species that's only found in one spot in the world in Oconee County. Oconee County has a conservation fund, which is that's probably the only rural county that has something like that. Really thinking ahead. Anyhow, he called me and said, I got this property and it's for sale, and we got to move on it. And I forgot the numbers. It was something like $500,000. I said, well, throw it in the hopper. We can probably figure out. It's got these unique plant species. We got to save those, and we can. And Oconee County put in a little bit of money. And then about 2 weeks later, he said, hey, Raleigh, we found another one. We're going to need a little bit more money. And then I said, well, let's keep. All right, we'll keep trying. It's a neat project. And about a month later, he said, and there's a third one. I said, dang, Mac. But we did that project that ended up breaking out. He put it all together. All three of them total up to about $1.8 million. The bank kicked in 1.2, and Oconee County and local partners kicked in 600. And I can tell you, if it weren't for the 600 local money, we would not have funded those deals. As important as they are, we could not have funded 100% of deals because we would exhaust all of our financial resources and wouldn't be able to spread the money. But because you had local money, they had local money, we were able to get those done. So again, I'll end by just emphasizing, if you got a little bit of money, y'all need to be focused on, in my view, on turning that, if you got $50,000 even, turn that into $500,000. You get $500,000, turn it into $5 million worth of property saved. You do that with partnerships, and I know that the Conservation Bank will be right there to support you if that happens. Do you have any questions?
We do have time for questions of Raleigh.